Good day to you all. Hope your day has been great, or it will be great, depending on when you're watching this. And just to let you guys know, this is going to be maybe a little heavy today, but I feel the need to address some things, or we feel the need to address some things, just because we've been asked certain questions, me particularly, just about gluten-free, because I've been talking about gluten-free or Red Robin or the gluten-free waffles and this, that, and the other. And several people have asked, why are you gluten-free? And typically I just tell them because I have lupus and fibromyalgia, and I find that being gluten-free helps with that. But the story actually is just a little bit deep.
2012, that was Indianapolis's first Super Bowl. And, around that time, there's excitement all over. We had family come in from Chicago in a 2-bedroom apartment. And life was just, grand and everything, going downtown, showing people around. And
that was a really beautiful day, wasn't it? It was a nice day.
It was a wonderful day.
Yep.
And we're pregnant at that time. So, kind of halfway in our pregnancy. And wonderful business time for Indianapolis and such. And, people are excited. But our life, we didn't know just how it was going to change at that moment. So just kind of passing this Super Bowl time frame that we just had right now, it's never an easy time because that time is marked by a major event in our life.
We told you guys that we were married April 15th of 2011. We did not a shotgun wedding, but it was one of those quick weddings. He proposed in February. Right. And we were discussing things, trying to figure out a date, and just because he has family in Zimbabwe and I have family in Zimbabwe, and we were like, how's our family going to come over? We were trying to think about, when we're going to get married and set a date, and people were saying, okay, wait a year so people can save money. I'm like, no, we're not waiting a year to get married, especially when we're trying to do things right, and live, the remainder of our days pure, basically, so I'm like, well, we're not waiting a year. This is not going to happen. So basically we decided to get married for ourselves, to have our ceremony, allow us to do our thing, and with God as our witness. So we had our actual wedding celebration October 8th. Everyone was like, ooh, yay, we're married. And it was another beautiful day in Chicago at that time. And I knew something was different on our wedding day, actually, but I just thought I was tired. I remember being exhausted and extremely thirsty, and I just knew I was uncharacteristically tired, but I had no idea from what. I'm just tired. We just planned a wedding. I just worked, Friday as a teacher. I just dealt with the craziest kids, literally. Okay, now maybe I should use the term crazy. But that was a challenging classroom I had, and I had just worked, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. 3 weeks later, I don't know what made us decide, hey, we need to take a pregnancy test.
Okay.
And we took a pregnancy test.
Spidey senses were tingling.
I guess so. And we took a pregnancy test, and we found out, oh my goodness, we're pregnant. Oh, well, this is what was wrong with me. This is why I've been so exhausted, and why I've been so thirsty, and why I just don't feel myself, We went to the doctor, checked everything out, her heartbeat actually, and things were fine.
Wonderful time.
And then I realized, for some reason, again, I was just extremely exhausted. I mean, I was so tired to the point where I would come home from work around, 6 o'clock, and I would literally sit on the couch, and then I would wake up an hour later, and Tabani's like, Paula, eat. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, when did I fall asleep? I didn't even know I fell asleep on the couch. I will still have my coat and my work bag right there, and I'll be passed out. And then I'll eat. I remember eating in the fog, and then he'll wake up, and my toothbrush would be in front of my face, like, Paula, brush your teeth. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I fell asleep again. And that was consistent. I think I did that almost on a daily basis. I was exhausted. I think we told the doctor was like, that's just normal. You're a baby's developing within your body. And I'm saying, okay.
So now take somebody that enjoys pastas, enjoys breads, enjoys
yes.
Just everything that we now know has
Pizza,
gluten in it.
we ate
Pizza, yeah.
Uno's deep dish pizza,
Yeah.
Giordano's frozen deep dish pizza,
Yeah.
everything. I mean,
So,
all of that.
I mean, breaded chicken. I mean, everything is just has bread, has gluten, and I mean, so many things were affecting, Paula's body, and
We had
we didn't
no
know.
idea,
Yeah.
no idea. So I mean, this man used to send me to work every morning with I would have like a egg sandwich and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and like bottles and bottles of water, a banana.
I was doing a great
fruit.
job.
I mean, he
thought.
really packed. I mean, I had a backpack as a lunchbox. I mean, it was so much food because I was also nauseous all the time. Like I had to eat every 3 hours, literally, to feel better. It was insane, and everyone just said that's just pregnancy. People, some women have great pregnancies and some have challenging ones, and I guess I had a challenging one. I remember one day at work, I had to walk down the stairs to pick up my students in the morning, and I remember not being able to put one leg in front of the other. Like my leg was hurting so bad on my right side, and this was consistent for a while. So I went to the doctor again, and she said go to a physical therapist. Went to a physical therapist, did my stretches, exercised, and mind you, I'm already exhausted from coming home from work, can barely keep my eyes open, falling asleep like on the way home. I mean, like mentally, and didn't even know like the Lord was with us, with me.
Amen.
Because it was ridiculous. Like I remember, like calling to Brian, he's saying, "Oh my goodness, I almost fell asleep on my way home. Like I had to call you so I would not fall asleep." And that was a really challenging time.
Yeah.
It was a Friday before the Super Bowl. I just knew I was gonna call in sick. I already told myself, "You're calling in sick." So I started throwing away a bunch of papers, cleaning up my classroom. I stayed to work kind of late that day. And then I came home and my family came. Like we said, we had about 15, 16 people in our 2-bedroom apartment. And these were adults and children. And it was chaotic, but it was a lot of fun. I love my family. So we had all of them in the house. We went and did the Super Bowl activities downtown and walked. And I felt a little funny, but not too bad. Then the Super Bowl evening, my mom made this buffalo ranch dip. Oh my goodness, it was so good. So good.
And oven fried chicken.
Oven fried chicken. We had chips.
Tasty.
We had so much. So, of course, me being pregnant, I'm enjoying myself. And then I remember not feeling the greatest, and I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep on the floor outside the kitchen. I remember falling asleep.
You did.
Monday, pain. I could not sleep.
Yep, I had to come from work to get some
Tylenol or something.
Yeah,
medicine.
like stomach medicine because you thought you had gas, so we're trying to remedy that. You call
Called
the
the doctor.
Yeah.
She says just
Yeah.
gas. Asked me how was the pain. I explained it to her. She was like, just give it a day.
Yeah.
And it was miserable.
Yeah.
And then Monday night, it was we went for a walk Monday just to relieve the gas. It was not helping. We walked around our complex. It was not helpful at all. I called my mom, just saying I didn't know what to do. We called the doctor again. It was just horrible. And realized that actually I was having contractions.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was having contractions, but I didn't know. So on Tuesday, I think it was, or Tuesday, I drove myself. I made a sandwich, bread, and ate the sandwich because I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, if something's going on, this might be my last meal for a couple of days. And so in my mind, but loss, miscarriage, none of that crossed my mind. I was just thinking like, if I had to go into the hospital for them to give me some type of pain medicine, I want to make sure I eat because I know hospital food isn't that good. So I had Doritos with hot sauce and it was a sandwich.
Well, at least you thought hospital food is not that good.
Yeah, and I thought that. I was definitely surprised that it actually was. But anyway, so went to the doctor. One thing that we had experienced before was that it was difficult for them to hear the heartbeat, our baby's heartbeat anyway. So this wasn't the first time. I think every time I've gone to the doctor, there was a hard time hearing the heartbeat. So it was no big deal. So then she goes and gets the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, these machines. I remember her calling the machine dumb. These old dumb machines.
Yeah.
I don't think anything, like we're going to get you over to the hospital. But I can see in her face that something was going on. And she was like, it's possible that there's no heartbeat and all of that, but she was saying it's possible. There was no definite. And the doctor, she came with us to the hospital and checked me in. She did all this, and she didn't have to do that. She didn't even know me as a patient, nothing.
No, she didn't have to.
But she checked us into the hospital. She told them what was going on, hooked me up to the machines, and lo and behold, there was no heartbeat.
That began a journey that we didn't expect, because all the excitement that we would had over the past 20 some odd weeks, and of course you start off with the fear factor. In the beginning you're like, oh my goodness, we're pregnant, what do we do? But after a while you start embracing it. You start the stories of what you're going to do, and everything like that comes into play. But nobody looks to a time when that just gets chopped off, when part of the journey on the way to a destination, as you feel, you're just derailed. You don't necessarily plan for that. So that was a derailment that we never experienced, and that became our life at that moment. And that's.
I don't even like cry. But yeah, so I mean, we were 19 and a half weeks at that time, and we knew that our next appointment we were going to find out what we were going to have. Wow, I don't, I don't cry, right? Yeah. So this is like crazy.
Yeah.
That night, I called my mom. She came driving back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, they had left that Monday.
Yeah, she just left that Monday evening, and she had to turn right back around and come back. And one of her really good friends came back, and then my aunt and my cousin, they came. They were there that evening as well. I mean, it was almost like they lived right around the corner from us, because they were there like immediately. I was induced that night. The next morning I woke up, I had to go to the restroom, and there we go. I said, doctor, I think the baby is coming. And I mean, I had the baby. So I delivered an actual baby at 19 and a half, 20 weeks. And people, it's crazy. I'm not going to go into details about how I feel about abortion and things like that, but we had a baby. I mean, we saw her. We thought that we were having a boy because of the tests and everything, but after months later we found out that we were actually having a girl. I mean, we saw her. We have pictures of her hands, her nose, her eyes. We actually saw and held, our baby at 19 and a half weeks. And I mean, just to see our baby, and so we lost in that moment. I feel like innocence. I never even knew of anyone who had a miscarriage or had a pregnancy loss, and I didn't even know that was possible. Growing up in high school in sex ed, they don't tell you about miscarriages. No. You don't hear that from couples. No. It's like but it happens. And again, by God's grace and His mercy, we were just able to get through that. And it was a very challenging time. Tabani was talking about how he was worried about being a dad. That was or not worried, but just the men and the providing and the things that he's supposed to do for his household. I felt it was a long time. I feel like I robbed him of that because of. And that's another reason why I don't like the term miscarriage, probably because it has such a negative connotation. It's like it was like me, I did it, and it was my body that did something horribly wrong. And I really did feel like I robbed him of the opportunity to be a dad, and I robbed myself of opportunity to be a mom. And it took a while for me to just get over that. God heals, apparently, in more ways than one. Heals physically, heals mentally, spiritually. I mean, there's no other way, because I just know that we could. I honestly know that within myself. I mean, I was in a fog, and I remember being like very sad on some days when I was home without Tabani, because I couldn't believe what my body just did. I couldn't understand it, and I didn't know what was happening. And I was so bad I couldn't even shower myself. I couldn't do anything. Like I don't know if that was because of the me being sick or my mental state, or I think it was a mixture of both. It was just really bad, and all this led to my lupus diagnosis. My doctor, she just happened to be studying lupus and the effects of lupus on African American women and women who are pregnant and things of that nature. But we know that was God's working. I went to a rheumatologist. Hey, you have lupus, and also you have fibromyalgia. So I'm like, okay, what are these two things? I did all my research. I'm reading on websites, lupus lovies. I'm doing all sorts of lupus research. A friend of mine suggested a naturalist, who I called her. She did her very basic naturalist type testing. She tested my saliva and tested my urine, so I can tell you everything you need to know, or most things between those two.
Yeah.
So she told me to start taking. I took a slew of vitamins. She said take fish oil like it's candy, and the most important thing she said was go wheat free. She didn't say gluten free. She said be wheat free. And I said okay. It's not because I have celiacs. It's not because I want to lose weight.
It's not a fad of some sort that's just coming and going.
No,
it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, and it's because my health matters. I matter, and our future generations matter, and that is what's most important to me. So that is why I am gluten free. That's our miscarriage, pregnancy loss. Gluten-free.
So that's the journey. Yeah. So the winding road.
Yes. So again, thank you guys for listening, watching this time, and thank you for allowing us for inviting us into your home or into your space, wherever you are, and for just allowing us to continue to heal as we just shared that with you all.
Yeah.